Hello everybody, welcome, welcome. Get my camera set up right. There we go. I think that's good. How is everyone doing today? Happy Friday. I am super excited to have you guys here for another. This is actually the 50th episode of Pink Sheep and Friends, so that's pretty cool. I hope you guys have your coffee or whatever you're drinking at 12 o'clock on a Friday. I did want to tell you guys, we have a giveaway happening right now. I just posted about it this morning. If you guys are not familiar with our DIY hook challenge, check out our last post. We are giving away, we're going to have two winners, and we are going to be giving away one of our official white DIY hooks. This is what it looks like. This is this year's hook. We're doing 20mm hooks this year. So two winners each. Each of those winners are going to get one of our DIY hooks that they can use to decorate for the challenge. That's not it. There's more. So I wanted to try to include something in the giveaway to help people decorate. So maybe you weren't even considering being a part of the DIY hook challenge, you weren't really sure where to start. We wanted to make it easy. So each winner will also get a set of paint pens in these wonderful neon colors because I thought they were so much fun. So two winners, each one will get everything they need to be a part of this year's DIY hook challenge. So please help us spread the word. This is not limited to people who haven't bought a hook yet. So maybe you already bought your DIY hook, but you'd like another one to play around with and, try out different techniques for decorating them, but you'll be all set. So be sure to check that out. Help us spread the word about the challenge. We're super excited about it this year. And that brings me to today's guest for, again, episode 50 of Pink Sheep and Friends. We are actually, I say we, I am actually bringing on someone who is also a sponsor of this year's challenge. So we are going to be welcoming Katie of the Knit Kit. So the actual name of the brand is Summer Camp Fibers, and I'm making sure I got everything right. But here on Instagram, it is at the Knit Kit. So just to clear that up. But let's bring Katie on. We'll have a little chat with her. And she has already sent me a request. Thank you so much. I don't have to look you up. And let's see. There we go. Oh, okay. Yeah, another sip of my coffee. Hopefully it works. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Have you heard of Me Made May? Is that what it's called?
I actually just going through Instagram was educated to it.
Yes.
I have to say though, I feel so honored to be part of episode 50 here. Congratulations.
Right? Yes. Yes. And the only reason I brought that up, I was trying to figure out what to wear today. So I always have to think like I'm going to wear something on the challenge, but yes, I'm so excited to have you on today. And yeah, episode 50, it's kind of crazy. It snuck up on me. I don't think I really even realized. I finally started counting because before I was like, I don't know how long this is going to even go on for, I wasn't keeping count of them. I didn't have any kind of episode count. But now I was like, I should probably be keeping up with that. I think that's smart.
Right. I think it's so awesome. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. Well, I would love if you want to do a quick little intro of yourself and who you are for anyone who may has not heard of you and doesn't know what you do. Just a quick little rundown.
Right. So I'm Katie. I am the owner of Summer Camp Fibers. We were originally the Knit Kit, and she has grown to be quite the little gem, which now encompasses crocheters as well. So she's now the Knit and Crochet Kit. Normally I have a lot of color behind me, but I flipped my office around and literally my entire everything I have is at a trunk show on Long Island at the knitting store. So I literally have bare walls. My husband's like, I always love to see bare walls. I'm like, well, it doesn't help the cause on Instagram. So we hand dye yarn. We also make all of the knit and crochet kits. Let me see if I have one. I have one here. So it's just a handheld. It fits in the palm of your hand. It's everything you need to knit but yarn and needles, but like your crochet hook and yarn.
Yeah.
So and knit and crochet. I have to start saying that a little better, but to be quite honest, I just learned to crochet last year, so I'm still this was all, as I said, we were first the knit kit, and that's all we did. And then the pandemic hit, and I have 2 boys, and they are now 14 and 11. Mm-hmm. And at the time they were littler, and their camp closed, and I became like a camp counselor overnight. And I thought, oh my God,
I was going to ask where it came from.
Yeah, my kids have gone to camp since they were 4, and I could probably argue that they have post-traumatic stress from it closing. I could really argue that. I have a strong argument for that. So I started tie-dyeing everything. So we have sheets, we have curtains, we have shirts, we have pants.
And they would
have underwear.
Help you?
Yeah, and we would tie-dye everything. So my husband's like, why don't you try yarn? So we tried yarn, and it's stuck. Mm-hmm. My kids still help me to this day, not as much as they used to, but they still help. I mean, we are a true family business around here. I own this with my mom and my sister. And the fun part about it is they're colorblind on 2 different spectrums. So
I saw that on your website, which is crazy.
It's really fun. It can be scary at times, but we have like rules. You have to stay in the same color family and all that stuff. So it can be scary, but at the same time, it's pretty fun. So I have one who's colorblind with like reds and oranges, and the other one is blues and purples. So you never know what you're going to get. And yeah, so it just kind of was born, and it's stuck around. So then why I'm the knit kit on Instagram is that's how we started, but it's very hard to change your name or rebrand or combine. Instagram hasn't caught that yet, so it's kind of like I have to manage 2 for the time being, because I didn't want my following over at the knit kit not to see the yarn and vice versa. So, we're family business.
Do you have 2 Instagram accounts, or you're just saying you manage, so you have it? You do have 2.
Yeah, we have one for Summer Camp Fibers, and we have one for the knit kit. And the majority of our following is over at the knit kit, because that's just where we built our brand since 2017. And
I need to go follow both. I don't think I even realized. So you make sure you send me the other account, so that way I'm following both of them. If you
find Summer Camp Fibers on the profile, it says follow us over at it, just so people know that we're kind of one and the same, but we are different as well. So
yeah, and it's funny because my husband actually made a comment. He's like, well, if it's the knit and crochet kit, why does it just say the knit kit? And I said the same reason. I was like, it can be really difficult, and it can be a little daunting to change your name, because people, if they've known you that way for so long, if they go to search for you, it takes a while for people to even remember that you changed your name. And then you could lose followers if they don't realize, I mean, so I feel like it's a lot. You have to really think long and hard about rebranding the name on Instagram.
It's a lot. And the knit kit itself has been around since 2008. So she has had longevity in the game, and quite frankly, we kind of put her up on a pedestal there, and we opened her up to crocheters, but she is the gem around here. She is that's the show most of the time, besides our bright yarn.
So tell me a little bit, and tell everybody, it really does, whenever I do these, it feels like I'm just talking to one person, and I know that people are watching. So again, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here and joining us for this chat. But I'd love to know a little bit about how the knit kit was born, and what that looked like for you guys, and what that how it has progressed, because all of us know, like, when you own a business, things change, and we go through difficult things and happy things, and like, what has that journey looked like for the knit kit?
Well, that's been a long one. The knit kit kind of ended in, it kind of like just fell in my lap. I wasn't involved in fiber. I didn't own a yarn store. I went to a quasi-military school and have a degree in environmental science and marine safety. Like, I had nothing to do with manufacturing. I went to the school of hard knocks on manufacturing.
Yeah.
And so it kind of ended up in my lap. My mom and my sister and I just tried to build it. And then we noticed a lot of design flaws. So the second year I paired with an ergonomic engineer and we redesigned the thing from soup to nuts.
Yeah.
So I could hire people and have a staff to assemble it because it was really hard to assemble. And at the time, the molds were really bad. If you know anything about molding plastic, you have to have molds just so, and those weren't good. So I just kind of started from scratch and built it back up again. And
so this is 2 revamps now that I'm hearing so far.
The second revamp. The one that's out now, I'll put my paycheck on it any day. I don't know about anybody else, but the road to perfection is super long, and for some reason I'm always stuck on it. I feel like it's never good enough. Same with my yarn. I have this huge bin of yarn that I just refuse to send out because it doesn't meet like my standards. So the one that's out now it's pretty bomb-proof. My kids use it. My husband uses it. People have sent me pictures of them. One lady was opening sriracha with the scissors because she was like out to lunch. Another lady got in a car accident and used the scissors to cut her bumper. Like, it was in the way.
Oh my gosh.
So she cut like a part of her bumper off.
Yeah.
I've gotten the weirdest things, but it's super handy. Yeah. Everybody, it's one of those things. People keep telling me, can you put a lipstick in there? And I'm like, well, maybe one day, but it's one of those things that just keeps evolving. What's out right now, there was a previous model that I compare it to, like, I don't know, iPhone models, right? You always get like a better and better and better one. Well, this one is pretty good, and I paired with the right people to make the right product. So it's definitely one of those things. The biggest feedback I get is why didn't I have one earlier? Yeah. I don't know.
Will you walk us through one, since you have one there, all of the bells and whistles? Sure. Yeah.
So here's the front. Now I'm in front
of so cool. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah. So they have tons of different graphics. We have glitter. We have like literally everything. If you're a gamer, we have one for gamers. We have one for people who like cats. We have everything. So on the front is a 60-inch tape measure, and then you got your 3-digit row counter. And the first two, they index together. And then the third digit is on its own, and that's twofold. One, some people with lace go all the way up, and other people like me need a reminder on like sleeves when you're knitting, or else they come out like a big rectangle for the decreases. So it's like a reminder digit too. And then the other day, I actually used it because I was counting 2 different things. I was counting rows, and then I was counting increases at the same time. So it kind of had a split function. On the side right here is like a quick snip. So you literally just take your...
that's amazing.
Yeah. So if you don't want to take everything out, like your scissors, if you're on a plane, you just do that. And then you have a double-ended crochet hook.
That's awesome.
So that's ergonomically designed to weave in ends and picked up slip stitches. And then you have a barricaded cable needle. And it's also, I also use it to pick up stitches. And then on the back, you have from a 0 to a US 19. And on the inside, you have your crochet hook letters. So it's like a 2-for-1.
Gotcha.
And then everything that you need so sometimes I have yarn sales, sometimes I don't. Is inside. So you have your point protectors, you have your round and locking stitch markers. So we give enough for knitters and crocheters. So if you don't knit, make a friend and give them to a knitter. You know what I mean? Like, so
or learn to knit, learn the basics, and then you know.
And so it's everything, literally everything you need. It's so handy, and you just pop it in any bag. I don't even have a project bag near me, but people pop it from bag to bag. People match it to their stuff. Like, we have a whole, like, I can't even think of a word for the fans that when I release a new one, they buy it, or a new color, they buy it, or I'm starting this new sweater, I need a teal one. I hear that a lot. So it's just one of those, it's one of those things that you don't know that you needed it until you had it. And then you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. And if you guys don't know and you're watching now, the DIY hook challenge, our grand prize winners is going to win one. So just another reason to join in on the challenge.
I'm super excited for that myself. I'm already figured out how we're going to do our hook. I was talking to my oldest son about it. So it can be on with Summer Camp Fibers and our whole tie-dye. So
we have not seen, we haven't seen a true tie-dyed hook, like the actual look of tie-dye. So that would be super interesting. And I think I have an idea for mine. I don't know if artistically I can do it. The idea is great, but I don't know. We're going to see.
I know, right? I hope somebody does a Wednesday themed one.
That would be so, especially if it's like side by side with like Wednesday and, I just forgot her name. Enid? Yeah. Right? Yeah. So, yeah, or like the stained glass, how that like stained glass window, if there was a way to do that. I think we've had one person do like a stained glass theme, maybe, if I'm remembering correctly. But there's so many, like, and I think that's the thing. When I was sitting here, I was like, I can't think of anything. But like you talk to like one person, there's so many ideas where it's like, oh, you could do this, you could do this. Because, you know, last year's winner did Stranger Things. Yeah. Because that was so big at that time. And it was one of those hooks that the main reason that it was up there, because it's always so hard for us to judge. But it was one of those hooks where like the more you looked at it, the more you saw. And there was so much detail of like so many elements from the show. You know, like we love to see that, like pop culture and like movie references. And, you know, if you really love something and like putting all this detail, it's really, really cool. We love it.
Right? I think it would be super fun. I also think on Netflix, the new Bridgerton like spinoff, Queen Charlotte, with all the, if somebody took and like Mod Podged it on there or something, like get it to stick. I thought about that.
Yeah, my first year I did Mod Podge. I did the comic books. So I went and found like, you know, bargain bin comics and, you know, used those to like Mod Podge a superhero hook. So that was pretty cool. So there's so many things. And I think too, you know, my favorite thing is when people do plan to use the hook. So like I'm going to create something where like it really does turn into like an heirloom / keepsake piece that's like totally functional. They can use it. And then it's like every year you have a keepsake from each year that's like totally customized crochet hook that
I think use. So that's so cool. And I want to use mine because your hoodie, I was talking to a friend of mine about it and I was like, I think I need this. So I was like, I got to figure out how to do it first, but I might need it.
Yes. Well, okay. So backing up to the when the knit kit was born, what made you even want to make one? I think that's what, like, because we skipped straight to like the actual manufacturing of the piece, but like what even made that idea come into your head of like this is something that needs to exist?
I think that being a mom and having everything compartmentalized is a good thing. So like I hate to have things everywhere. And then I like to also be prepared. So like my husband's big thing is you always bring too much. I'm like, yeah, but when somebody's asking me for something, I always have it. So I think that's my mission, is to provide a tool to make you organized and more efficient, but also look cute too, because I feel like, so my biggest competitor is I'm going to put air quotes around it, the pouch or the Ziploc bag. That's it. Like if you have a pouch full of stuff, that's great. I have nothing.
Or little tins, like people have little tins or little boxes, you know.
There's nothing those, but for me, I just needed something that was comprehensive, like a Swiss Army tool, that I had everything.
Yes.
And
I love that comparison.
yeah, I just wanted something where it was contained and I didn't have to worry about it, and I could just pick it up and put it in. It didn't take up much space. It fits in my back pocket of my jeans. It was funny when I was designing it. I was like, it needs to fit in the back pocket of my jeans, because when I'm at shows, I literally pull it out of my pants. Like, I pull it out of my jeans and say, here it is.
Yeah.
So
yes. And Delphina just said it's like a Swiss knife for fiber crafters, and it is. It's like a multi-tool that's got everything you need. I mean, and I think because you have implemented the gauge tool that's on the back, that's even more of an up, because I feel like a lot of people, even if you have like a little box of stuff, there are things you can't fit in there. I mean, most of the things you may be able to, but like most of those gauge tools are pretty big, you know, when they've got like the gauge checkers, and they won't fit unless you have, like you said, like a pouch or something.
right.
So I feel like you've done a really good job of like consolidating to create something that is still small enough, like you said, to fit in your pocket, but it does have all of the things.
That's definitely my big thing, is being prepared. And nobody likes we've all been there. You're with your friends and you're knitting, you're crocheting, you're at a coffee, and then all of a sudden you're like, I need this. And then an impromptu yard sale happens because you can't find what you're looking for in the bottom of your project bag. And it's like, you all of a sudden have 5 tape measures because you couldn't find the first one. So you bought another one, and it just gets lost. So it's one of those things that I just felt like everybody needs to be, you know, or if you're organized too, you spend less time looking for things and more time doing. I don't know. We live in a really fast-paced world, and the less steps that I need to take to get something done, I'm all about it.
That's true. That's true. I'm always looking for ways to you know, not just be organized, but be able to prioritize well and like manage my time, and not always the greatest at it.
Right. I hear you. I mean, my kids are homeschooled. They go to online school. So like behind me is my son's desk. I share a office with him because I help him a lot with school. He's dyslexic, so I help him a lot. And the other one is on the other side of that wall. And so I just have to be prepared and together, and I do a lot of knitting with him while I'm helping. And so then I don't have everything spread out on the table. I just take this, throw it on the table. Do
all of your family members know how to knit or crochet? You mentioned they use them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't know if my husband does. He like jokes with me, like, we don't so he's a marine engineer, so he does know how to weld. We don't weld here at home, but he's at work. And he's like, that's man knitting. Like, just joking around. My kids do. I've known since I was 12. My sister was taught way before she was 12. My mom and my grandmother, everybody knits. Everybody.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, my husband now knows like all the stitches, and he's like, is that? I mean, he doesn't do it himself at this point. He says he needs to learn, but he knows the lingo, he knows the people. Like, he's very into the community and like understanding, you know, yarn weights and like just all of the intricacies of the conversations that we have. You know?
Derek is like that too.
Yeah, and it's great. I mean, I think it helps too, since we, like you talked about, having a family business and doing this together, and you know, being all in, like we're both all in, like, and being, you know, I think that really helps with the community wanting to support you because you want to support them and you want to be involved, and not just behind the scenes. Now it's like pulling teeth to get him to show up, you know, on a live or in photos, but they know he's there, you know, and I think that's a big part of it.
I think for us, I don't share a lot of that side of us. I've always been a really private person when it comes to that, and pretty protective of my kids.
Well, it's your kids. It's your kids. Yeah.
But at the same time, I have to learn to let go of that a little bit, because you can't make my life up. It's like hysterical. It's hysterical what goes on a daily basis here. So I feel like people will want to see that, and literally I laugh I won't say almost, I laugh every day. every day something's happening, and I'm just dying laughing. So for us, we're working on trying to figure out how to intermingle, you know, my home life and my work life are like really intertwined.
Yes.
So,
and you do this full time along with working with your kids with their homeschooling, correct?
Yes. And making 3 meals a day plus snack.
Yeah.
2 dogs. We just got rid of the chickens to offload something. But yeah, and then
and we just got chickens, so it's like we traded.
Yeah, we traded. In the summer, we have a huge garden. I'm a big organic, everything farm to table proponent of that type of food and knowing where your food comes from. So there's like a whole side to me that people don't even know exists.
It's hard to, it can be very difficult to bring that in without feeling like you want to showcase other parts of your life. I think it's important for the connection because the people get to know you a little more and like know like, oh, you know, she's into gardening and her family, but like finding the right way to post about that or to share about that. I think that's a difficult balance for business owners when it is a family business or a single solopreneur, I guess.
You're not the first person to say that in 24 hours. In 24 hours. I feel like there is people have this vision on Instagram that it has to look a certain way and be a certain way and sound a certain way. And you need to look at for instance, your grid is like a magazine and it has to look a way and be a certain whatever. And I think that people are finding they kind of want to cross over and kind of want to share more, and they're wondering how to do that and be on brand, I guess. Because summer camp, I don't know about you, but for us around here, summer camp is like our fondest memories. We have the best memories of summer camp and the bright colors. In the camp that my kids go to every year was the best summer ever. Every year, you know? So I feel like for us, like that is part of family around here is summer camp in general.
Yes.
Even I think my kids do go to summer camp, but they always come back and they're like, it's not the same, Mom. Sorry.
And I'll tell you, I can relate so much to what your kids went through with summer camp being canceled during that time of their life, because I know for me, and I thought about this during COVID, because hearing about school closures, camp closures, all of that, I went to the same summer camp. I started at 7 years old, and that was my mom sent me for like a 3-day sampler because it's a spend the night camp, and she wanted to make sure I wasn't going to get super homesick. I came home and I said, Mom, I want to go back. And like, she sent me back for another week at 7. And from then on, I was gone as long as they let me be gone. Like that camp was, it's like you said, it was that every summer was the best year ever. I had so many friends, and I wasn't a super popular kid in school. I didn't have a ton of friends in school, but like at camp, like everybody was my best friend, and I had so much fun and felt at home. And I could not imagine what I would have gone through if camp had been canceled. Like, I mean, I don't know, you know?
It was hard. They didn't get to say goodbye. Like there was no even like online Zoom goodbye or like closing. There was nothing. We're not doing camp. So it was that was really hard for them. But like, I just set out to create a brand that was family friendly with bright colors. So when you look at it, you get that feeling like, oh my God, it's fun. And my goal is for people to create like pieces. Like my son keeps bugging me for a pink sweatshirt, like to knit him a pink sweatshirt. I will say, I love that kid. He will rock any color I throw at him and own it. Like he's just the only 14-year-old that I know that is so comfortable in their skin. They just own it. So for me, like camp has all these good feelings, and I hear all these stories all the time that I try to convey in yarn so people make pieces that just make them happy and that are attainable, because I know I live in a the land of luxury yarn here, but I try to keep them attainable so they're happy and you can pass them on, and or hopefully your kids don't forget them at school, because lo and behold, that Lost and Found has a lot of really nice hats in it.
Right.
Like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you, trying to think of, I have so many questions. So, all right. So first one, summer camp was canceled. You guys say, your husband says, let's try to dye yarn, right? Is that kind of how that went?
Yeah. What
was that experience like for you? Because I know there's a lot of people who are like, one day I'm going to try to dye yarn. Do you have any feedback on this kind of like, just go for it? Do you have, for people who, yes.
Get gloves.
Get gloves.
Fun.
Okay.
I have like fucking cans. No, we use acid-based dyes, so we have all the proper PP. I literally started in my driveway with a propane burner in a big pot. In like those tins, like, I don't know, those foil pans, like that you get at the grocery store. Yep. And at the time, we had an old grill, so I was cooking them on the grill, to set them.
That's
like
awesome.
It's a hot mess around here, right?
Yeah.
So I did all that, and it just kind of morphed over time. And luckily I started in the summer and we were outside, but what I didn't understand was the wind would pick up the pigment and it would go like flying. And then I'd be like, well, where did this pink end up from? Like, where did I put it down way down there?
That's awesome.
It was really funny. But don't forget, this brand launched during COVID. So nobody touched it. Unless you bought it, nobody could touch it. I wasn't at festivals, I wasn't in public. Like, I had to literally be like, okay, I wish you had Squish-A-Vision, because here's this skein of yarn, it's super squishy and super fluffy and super light, because we have a different way of drying around here to make them really wafty, so when you get our yarn, super squishy,
which is amazing for super bulky, because I think that is usually the big issue with super bulky yarn, is that it gets heavy. And so it's super dense, and then the items are heavy if you're making wearables. So like getting loftier yarn is really important.
It is. And I am an instant gratification person, so I always kind of flock to the chunkier yarns. Like, it's no offense to size 3 needle. I just don't have time. Like, I just don't have the patience. I don't have the patience.
I've never had the patience.
Yeah, and I just can't, but I can't have more than one project going on at a time. So it's like, I don't know. I tend to gravitate towards chunkier knits. I really love chunkier knits. And that's how it began. Literally hot in a propane burner in a grill.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what made you, or when was that moment where you're like, I want to keep doing this and I want to get really good at it? Like, what did that look like after that first, you're making it in the, you're thinking this may just be like a one-time thing to make summer camp fun.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It stuck so here I'm a lot of things to a lot of people, right? So I'm not only a mom, I'm a wife. My husband and I have businesses together. I am like the chef around here. My kids have no idea what it's like to eat like other food, really, because they're gluten-free too. So it's like a little different. And then I'm a perfectionist. So all the plates are like gourmet. Like, people don't eat like this across America. Like, you need to understand, when they go to camp, they're like, Mom, your food's so good.
You need to, what you need to do is take pictures of dinner plates and just surround them with yarn. That's how you can share. Then it's both. Here's the crossover.
Totally. So I am the chef. I am doing all the things. So at the end of the day, I was just tired because I'd literally build knit kits, pack knit kits, ship knit kits. We had huge wholesale presence at the time. And I liked that because I didn't have time to knit. Right. So it was a creative outlet for me. And I was doing it with my kids, which right now they don't want anything to do with me because they're like sick of me. But what teenager isn't? So, but at the time, like, it was just fun and I could do what I wanted. Whereas with the knit kit, it's very like, you make it, you put it in the box, you ship it.
Over and over again.
Like that scene from Mrs. Doubtfire. You pack those, you ship them. You pack those, you ship those. That's all my life. So I really like yarn. And then now that the festivals are starting to happen and I'm beginning to see people with my yarn on, it's one of those pinch me moments that I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
And they're talking to me and I'm getting to know what they like and what they don't like. And it's just taken off, really.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about your festival experience, because that's something that I know we are on the fence. Like, I don't know if it's something maybe we'll end up showing at festivals. Maybe we'll just go to some. I don't know yet. When did you start going to festivals, and what was that experience like, jumping in? Had you been going as a participant and just decided we need to vend, or what did that look like for you?
I actually never really went as a participant. People kind of because I always was just the girl who, prior to owning this, I just went to the yarn store, bought what I liked, knit what I liked, and went my way. And in the summer, I was at the beach. Like, I live on the Cape. So that's how I never was really looking, or I never really knew about it either. And then small opportunities came up where we would pop up locally, and people were like, oh my God, why don't you have a store? I'm like, I don't want a store. So like, I can't take a day off. No, I don't have a store. So then last year was the first, so then COVID hit as we were starting to build. And so
you had not gone to festivals pre-COVID?
I went to a few, but not like big.
A few. Okay.
And then COVID hit right at the same time the yarn was taking off. And the launch of the new design, COVID hit. It was like, so last year was the first year that I was out. My joke was I took myself down off the shelf and I dusted myself off here. And we were invited to go to Cake Palooza, which is a indie type of show at Rhinebeck. So it's the Friday of Rhinebeck weekend in New York. Okay. So we did that, which was super fun. And my sister kept saying, I just feel like we're with our people. And I was like, I do too. Everything was at Cake Palooza. Everything was really vibrant and fun. I knew a lot of the vendors from vending online on the online show and seeing them in the this is how you do this type of Zooms that they would have for us. So I got to meet people in person. It's a vibe. It's a whole vibe that's just fun. You can't really explain it until you go. But people are just in a good mood to, see all the stuff, buy up. They come with a list because they want to make X sweater with X yarn or whatever. People have special releases or limited editions of colorways for that show. And it's just a whole vibe, and it's different. And people see your stuff, because I feel like being online is great, but it's very limiting. You can't touch it. You can't feel it. And humans, and in general, are very sensory people. So if you can't reach out and touch it, it's hard to be like, well, is it scratchy? Or is it like, am I going to it, or am I going to feel like I'm wrapped in a cloud? So for us, we generally go with the softer yarns that you feel like you're wrapped in a cloud. That's my thing. I don't want to itch, because who wants to itch? I mean,
I'm like itching as you're talking about itching.
Yeah, that's just me. I have a lot of Irish, like literally Aran knit sweaters. But for me, I really like pink and glitter and fun stuff, and that's soft and squishy, and that's just who I am. So it's a vibe. I suggest you try, or at least go and see if it's for you, and if your people are there, which I think they would be. I do know that you have the market kind of cornered of where you sit, so I think that people would be happy to see you. When I introduced the Knit Kit to crocheters, they were pretty happy about that. So I feel like there's like an unseen divided line that's kind of like slowly blurring.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Huh?
I was reading the comment.
Oh,
Somebody said
yeah.
they need the itchy stuff to make it for your
Yes.
eyes. But if they're my enemy, are they knit worthy?
Right.
That's a big question.
Right. Exactly. It had to be like a frenemy.
Yeah, right?
Maybe family members where it's like they've asked for something and you feel like, okay, I'll make this, but not gonna be that good. I don't know. What have some of your favorite shows been? And you mentioned, is it Cake Palooza? How do you spell that? Is that what that was?
Yeah, it's Cake Palooza. So it's CakePolooza.
Yeah. I didn't mean to do a thought quiz on you either. I just wanted to make sure I heard it right. Okay.
Palooza. And that's one that I did do the New York Sheep and Wool, like Rhinebeck proper at the fairground.
Yeah.
For me, it was a lot of people, and it was a really big wake up because people, as I said, I'm very private, and now people know my face. So they would say hello to me, and I thought they thought I was somebody else. Like, I wasn't aware. My sister kept saying, they're saying hi to you. Well,
yeah.
I thought they were thinking I was like, Susie Smith. I don't know. So it was really kind of one of those moments where I was like, whoa. So it was fun though. I liked it. It's just, there was a lot of people and, coming out of being home forever. I don't know. Maybe I just, whoa, but it was just a lot, but I'm not the only one that said that. There was just a lot of people there, but this year I was already supposed to be in 3. I was supposed to be other places, but my son had a really bad injury. So I had to pull out of everything to stay home. I will be places in the fall and maybe a few in the summer, but I kind of had to realign and reprioritize because at the end of the day, and I always say this, I'm a mom first.
Yes.
And then everything comes second. So having a family business, I have that flexibility, but I'm a mom first. So I had to prioritize his well-being than a fiber show. But I think that you should try it. I think that you should go give it a whirl. Take that new thing, that new RV you bought, and go
That's
check
the goal.
it out.
Yeah. What have some of your other favorite shows been that you've been a vendor at?
Well, there's little ones on the Cape.
Gosh.
And then we used to get like a pop-up shop at the harbor in the summer. So there's a lot of like small art. I want to use the term art and craft shows, but they're like, are other things there too that's not necessarily arts and crafts. So I don't know what they call it anymore because it's definitely not a farmer's market because I've never seen vegetables.
But it's not specifically for fiber artists, is what you mean.
No.
Gotcha. Have you felt like those have been worth your time? Because I think that's a big question a lot of people have. If they sell something for like a fiber artist, is it worth trying to go to shows that aren't for fiber artists? Have you seen that they've been worth it for you?
So for me, the knit kit, like, okay, I'm going to dinner at my friend's house. I don't know what to bring her, but she knits. If you brought that to her house, you'd be the belle of the ball.
True.
She'd be like, this is awesome. So I kind of fit in this weird niche of like fiber artist, but it's a gift. You know what I mean? So I could blend right in there and be okay and sell it on that platform. I do think that the more eyes you get on you and your product, the better. Because who knows? They might not buy, but they might tell their friend, Anne Marie, that they saw this cool thing, and then all of a sudden they're at pinksheep.com buying 3 books.
That's true.
So
that's very true.
You never know.
Yeah. I think that's interesting. And that's where we're at now is, what's going to be worth the time and effort to like look into and go to, because there are smaller fiber festivals that are closer to us that we could try out, This year it's kind of, I don't know if any of that would happen this year because it kind of needs a little more planning, and I don't know, when is Rhinebeck? When does that happen?
I believe this year it's the weekend of October 21st.
Okay, cool. So in the fall. Is it normally in the fall? Okay. I need to look at that. because that's probably far enough
it's
out.
one of the biggest ones in the country. That's a big one. Maryland Sheep and Wool, I believe, is this weekend. That's one, which is closer to you. And so that's this weekend. So that's a spring show. Up near me, there's like New Hampshire, Connecticut, Vermont, way up in Maine, which I don't think I could do. And then I'm sure there's more. I know there's a big one in Wisconsin, and there's Stitches West, which is huge. So
heard of that one.
The options are endless, honestly.
Yes. Yeah. There's one in 2 weekends, I think, in Kentucky that I was looking at just to go see. And what's interesting though is I know that a lot of these shows, you know, I know you go to shop, but I think one of my big questions, and I don't know if you can answer this one or not, because you said usually you went as a vendor, but you may know just because you've been to them in general. When I looked at the one in Lexington, it's like you have vendors and then you have classes that you can pay to take. So is it worth going to these shows just to shop at the vendors if you're not going to take a class? You know what I mean?
People do that all the time.
Yeah. Okay. That was my question. I didn't know if people do, you know?
Yeah, they do all the time. Because as I said, like, you could go and offer, I don't know what, you have a size that's your favorite. You could offer that in a distinct color for that show. And that's like your special limited edition Kentucky Derby hook.
Right.
I think that's
very
Sunday.
true.
I think that's on Sunday, isn't it?
Kentucky Derby? Oh, I don't know.
I think so.
Maybe.
I'm not in the South.
Yeah. No, I never got into Kentucky Derby. But
go with the big head.
About it.
I'm all about it. I'm all about the
outfit. We need a crochet one. Yeah. That's what needs to happen.
Something
I mean,
needs to happen.
If I went, I would have to crochet the hat.
You would have
right?
to do the whole head to toe look.
Yes, exactly. Crochet everything, the whole outfit.
Yeah, even
now
the shoes.
I have not done that. I don't think, well, I say that. I guess I haven't done, obviously, shoes. But if you go barefoot, then I have the, wear one of my bralettes, and then I have the overalls dress, or the overalls. I have those, so wear crocheted overalls, and then a crocheted hat, and then yeah, like the whole outfit. The whole outfit's crocheted.
Hold on, head to toe.
I would just need to wear crocheted socks with shoes.
That is a lot. You'd be hot. Although last year, so maybe you'd be soggy.
Well, and that's the weather now has been so crazy. I mean, we're still having nights in Alabama in the 40s, you know, so.
I was freezing this morning. My husband put on the, like, I have a sweatshirt on because I couldn't find a sweater I really wanted to wear at this time. But it was one of those things. It's cold. It was cold here this morning. It was really cold.
Well, we have 10 minutes. Okay. And so I would love to do some more like personal rapid fire questions. I say personal as in personal preferences with yarn, not getting that. We're not super personal.
Pretty open.
What has been one of the favorite things that you have made for yourself?
I would say I have a couple, but my favorite would probably be, I think it's called the Comfort Cardi Fade by Andrew Amore. I have four. I have 4 of them.
Wow.
And they're done out of RDK. And the reason being why I like it so much is because, so where I live is near the beach, and it's one of those things where sometimes you're hot and sometimes you're cold. And it's a 4-season sweater. Like, I obviously am not wearing it outside at 90 degrees, but if I'm out to dinner, it's freezing and there's a cool breeze off the water, I bring that, and then people try it on. They're like, can I try on your sweater? Can I have one? I'm like, well, you'll have to wait a few months.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably followed by the Moxie jacket by Audrey. I need
to write these down.
Yeah. That one is a good one. It's really chunky. It's a bomber style jacket. And the Trinkles make custom buttons that were gold. It was pink with gold sequins and gold buttons.
That's awesome.
My 2 faves.
Okay. That's all. And both of those DK weight?
Oh, actually, the Moxie is super bulky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The other one I
Okay.
think is on a 6 or an 8. It's
Okay.
DK, but the Moxie is super bulky.
Okay.
I'm like
What
looking to see if I have it underneath my desk, but I don't.
right. What is the range of yarn right now that you offer?
Well, we do have sock up to super bulky.
Okay.
However, I have a hard time selling what I don't like because I'm just
Yeah.
not convinced, right? So we do a lot of DK, a lot of worsted, a lot of bulky, a lot of boucle right now. Our boucle is DK, and then I've been doubling it and holding it with worsted to create a different type of fabric that's more of a chunkier base. But that's probably I stay more towards the larger gauges.
Gotcha.
I'm not doing
Yeah. And
base work anytime soon.
so if you had to choose for like the rest of your life, you had to choose a yarn weight and a hook size, and that's all you could use, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, it would probably be the bulky. It would probably be this. It would probably be our
5 weight
I
bulky?
think that's yeah. Ours is a 2-ply. It would probably be this because you can gauge up or down. So I can double it and gauge up, or I can grab a smaller needle and go down. But generally, I like to do 10 or above, and I'm really comfortable at about 15.
Okay.
I like the 15. I'm doing this tea. It's called the Tidy Tea by, I can't remember, Lily France, I think her name is.
Okay.
And it's a chunky knit, and it's awesome, and it's so airy and fun, and it's got cap sleeves. So I did it with purple with neon yellow cap sleeves.
Oh, awesome.
So it's due probably tomorrow because I'm trying to get it finished today.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that's 15 was my go-to forever. I mean, that was always one of my favorite. And I don't know, when you say 15, is that 15 the size or 15 millimeter?
It is the size, so it would be a 10 millimeter.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So you like the 15 millimeter hook?
Yes. That has always been, and I think because when I was going to shows and selling crochet items, that was a really nice hook size for super bulky yarn to make the shawls. Yeah. So like kind of the triangle flowy shawls and like infinity scarves and cowls were really easy to make with that 15 millimeter, and they worked up so fast. And then I would use the 10 millimeter for like hats, fingerless gloves, you know, like that. So that 10 and 15 and even the 12, sometimes like 11.5, 12 in the middle, that was my range for shows. So that made it awesome. Easy. Do you make and sell custom knit pieces? You mentioned people asking you. Is that something that you do?
We actually haven't. The only thing that we will have this year is around Christmas. We have something called the Nantucket Stroll Hat, and starting in 2017, I was making a new one every year, but then my business got a little bigger, and it was, you know, my mom and my sister have, like, I call it a real job.
Yes.
They actually have, like, you know, they have to go to the office and they give them a paycheck.
Yeah.
So it's a lot, it's just me. So this year we will have the Nantucket Stroll Hats bag that will be finished with the palm and the whole deal, so you can gift it. But other than that, no, because I just have, every time I get a little time, I'm like, okay, wrap my head around it. What can I do? Yeah. Then I get busy again, and it's like I don't have time. Yeah,
and I think there's something to be said for, if you do have time to making something for yourself. I think that's very when it comes to like the mental health side of things, of being able to take that time, and instead of taking that time to crochet something for someone else, you know, if you can make something for yourself or someone for your family, you know, gifts and things like that. I think sometimes there's a struggle there with people who are also running a business to remember to do things, you know, personal projects.
Mental health around here is huge. It's really big here. So I try to knit every day if I
Mm-hmm.
can. It kind of like
Mm-hmm.
just grounds you a little
Yeah.
bit, and the health, like what they've proven health wise that it does for you is like amazing. So that is a big thing for me around here. Generally, I'm making stuff for myself. It's kind of like twofold because it's for work too. Because I mean, if you see me, obviously you want to see me with my yarn on.
Yes.
It's very hard. They expect to see me with my yarn. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have yarn from a lot of other yarn dyers,
Mm-hmm.
and pieces made from a lot of other yarn dyers. So I do have quite the collection. But as far as like making, I generally I'm trying to get a sample done or something like that. That's just the trap I fall into, I think.
Yeah. Do you have any crochet, knit or crochet patterns that you sell? Or is that an area that you're like, I'm going to let someone else do that and I'm going to do me?
Yeah, it is. That's exact. I was looking I keep peeking underneath my desk to see. I've made one pattern in my life,
Uh-huh.
and it's free. It's on my website
Gotcha.
and on Ravelry, and it's called Faded Stripes. And the point of it was to take your extras from the Comfort Cardi Fade and make a coordinating tee to go under it. Because I was always like, what do I wear under this? Like I never knew. So it's striped this way, and then you have the fade, and it looks really cool. But no, I don't. I have partnered with designers in provided yarn support, which I'm more than happy to do. I think that's super fun to like kind of like smash brains together.
Yeah.
And I will gladly put ideas for designs out there, but the execution of it, y'all can do the math. Like, no thanks. I am all set. I have enough up here. This head is like a stadium. I do not need that yarn. Like,
Yeah.
mm-mm.
It's a lot. I think that's one area I'm glad that I got over that hump of like, it's still worth it to me to design,
Yeah.
despite having to like do the gauge and math and the grading and because it can be a little overwhelming, and then like just hoping you got it right. I mean, when I send it off to testers, it's like fingers crossed that I didn't miscount something, and then I have someone making a dress instead of a shirt and it's not supposed to be. And it's happened. I've had to restart tests all the way back over because I miscounted something and added something where it didn't need to be. And
right?
because your brain, you kind of go cross-eyed when you start looking. I was not good at math in high school. And of course you're like, when am I going to use any of this? Well, here I am.
Math every day. And it's so funny because my actually, who was it? My son asked me if I was going to design. I was like, no, it's too much math. He's like, use math every day. I literally use like algebraic equations every day. Like literally, he's like, Mom, are you really solving for X? I'm like, yeah, that's the only way I can wrap my brain around this ratio. But yes, I am not. I have tons of ideas for designs. I think there's so many good designers out there, and that's their craft, that I'm one of those people that I will gladly swim in my own lane.
Yeah.
And, like when I got married, the florist like, what do you want? I'm like, whatever you decide to do. Like, I'm just going to let you do you. And it comes out so much better, right? And then instead of boxing people in, when you box people in, it doesn't always come out right. So generally, I throw yarn, and I'm like, okay, do you. And it normally comes out all right.
Yes.
But if someone I want a periwinkle something with lavender speckles, it would be awful.
Yeah. And that's how I feel about people who make super intricate patterns. Obviously people who make patterns for anything other than super bulky yarn.
Right.
But again, people who do things that are like, all of my patterns are beginner friendly. And I am very happy staying in my lane and having all of them be that way, which means you're never going to come to me for a pattern that is really intricate or has like specialty stitches or crazy texture. Like that's probably not going to happen. Right. But there are so many designers that do that. It's like, I'd rather just stay focused on what I do. Some people are going to love it. Some people are going to prefer something else. But it makes me enjoy the process. So like you said, this is what I like to do. And
Mhm.
then it makes your, the whole time that you spend on your business is better because you're like, I'm doing what I want to do. I'm doing what I enjoy, instead of trying to force myself to do something else.
Yeah, we do color, we do glitter, we do ink. Like that's like sums me up.
And I love y'all's colors. I mean, obviously, but I love seeing, and I think a lot of the big box brands tend to steer away from the colorful items. That's more of like a novelty yarn. I feel like they get cycled out quickly when they go for like the really, really bright, bold colors. There's a few brands that do it well, but that's like one yarn that we offer in all of these crazy colors, and it's always going to be there. But when you see a lot of these novelty, like I have so many items that I've made using a specific yarn for the pattern, and people say, what yarn did you use? That's amazing. And I'm like, it's discontinued.
Yeah. I feel
Um,
some people view color as like a palette, and some people view color as a risk, right? And
yeah.
I think that when you're producing in such quantities, you got to like the risk versus reward here. If you're
Yep.
obviously going to sell the beige yarn tenfold over the hot pink, then
Neutrals and earth
yeah.
tones, people do love them.
I think that it's funny the way that I dye yarn. I said it to my son the other day. Sometimes I have no idea what I'm dyeing. That's dead serious. I hadn't picked up the dye pan since I got back from, it was weeks. Because
Yeah.
I didn't see anything that I was like, oh, I need that in the pink with the purple speckles. Like, I got to do this right now because that's normally what happens. And I kept dyeing, and I'm like, that's all right. And then finally, all the colors popped, and I found where I was supposed to sit for like the season, I guess you could say. So I found those colors and the tones that I wanted to be in. And I was inspired by Cinco de Mayo because that's where all of our yarn is right now at this Cinco de Mayo party. I sent like 400 skeins to
Wow.
the knitting store in New York. I have to plug them. The knitting store in Oceanside, New York is having an anniversary sale, and
Awesome.
all yarn is there. So their store looks like a fiesta, right?
Yeah.
It's like amazing. Like the colors are amazing. And so I'm super excited to see if they put it online, what it looks like. But yeah, I came into my own, and we have a lot of brights for the season, and I'm just super excited, and I'm super excited you called and asked me to be a part of the hook challenge because
Oh, you're good. Yeah.
That's what just happened. That is something that I definitely want to get more into crochet. I want to learn more. I want to do more. I feel like there is so much out there. There's a lot of crocheters that don't knit, right? And there's a lot of knitters that don't crochet. So I feel like I want to be a part of the club too.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm excited. Well, I'm excited to do the hook. I'm excited to knit that hoodie. So I was like obsessed. So I was like, how do I do a gauge with crochet? I was like bouncing around in my head. But I'm just super excited to be a part of all of this, and that you called, and we have so much in common. How long was I a crafter before I became a yarn maker? I've literally am not the kid who sat in the corners. So forever. My mom taught me how to knit when I was 12 because I wouldn't sit down. Like I physically wouldn't sit. So my first sweater, I still wear it today because I knew nothing about gauge. It's like it's vintage.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm so thankful that you were able to come on today, and that I see multiple collaborations in our future. For sure. I'm just excited that we made this connection. And this is what this is for. This is what Pink Sheep and Friends has always been for. It gives me a reason to reach out, make a connection, to allow everybody's community to grow by just a little bit, and discover new people. And I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see where our relationship goes. Woohoo!
I'm really pumped. We actually have a box of bulky, not super bulky. Our super bulky is really hot. I'm looking for a new one. It's 100% Peruvian wool, and it's hot and it's heavy.
Yes.
So I'm looking for like a new blend, so to lighten it up a little, because I don't know, my head is heavy and hot, and I don't want to have like sweaty hat head. That's
Right.
So we have a whole box of bulky we're gonna send down, because I was like looking at all your stuff, even your backdrop. I'm like, oh, she can do this and this and this and this, and I don't know what kind of hook that is, so we'll just give it a whirl.
Yes, and we can definitely talk about design ideas, because you said you have ideas in your head. I think that'd be helpful for me if you have something that you're like, it'd be really cool to make something like this with these style elements.
This head,
It's always really fun.
I have tons.
Yes. And it's really fun for me to take an idea, and because I have to basic everything down. I mean, literally, like, I'll take these ideas and I'm like, okay, how can I do this but make it as beginner friendly as humanly possible? Like, take it down to its barest bones, but still create something that maybe looks a little more difficult than it is, you know? So that's exciting.
I think that I'm on the same page. I really, truly believe anybody can knit or crochet. It's possible. We here aim to provide a platform for people to be able to do that with stuff. I don't think my husband would consider me basic, but I'm definitely not like, I'm not going to knit lace. I am not going to knit like all this crazy stuff. I'm just not that girl. I'm like the jeans and the t-shirt with the iced coffee.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
Same.
Yeah.
Yes. So, so everyone watching, thank you for joining today. Look out for collaborations with us. Be sure to check out the DIY hook challenge. It's happening now. You can get your official hook. You can join in the challenge. And the giveaway is happening now. Last post on my feed. Be sure to check that out. And yeah, I hope everyone has an amazing weekend. It's Friday.
Yes.
So get excited. Yes. And we will definitely be talking again soon for sure. And yeah, that's it for now, guys. If you caught this late, you can watch this on my Instagram feed. It will be posted soon, or you can check out the YouTube playlist on my YouTube channel of all of the past Pink Sheep and Friends episodes, all 50 of them now, and have something to binge watch or listen to while you crochet or knit. And we'll talk to you soon, guys. Happy hooking and have a good weekend.
Bye. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Bye.